start with Gina and go down to
Yeah, I thought I was going to get a minute.
That's okay.
That's okay. I gotta go, y'all. I gotta go. But this is so good. I don't want to leave. All right. And those of you who know God, He moves you at the right time in the right place. Right. He orders your steps. So, can I get started now? that was it. Okay. What I have done in the past is I've taken my children from the community to Holyfield's house. I've taken them, the seniors, to my lake house. I've informed them that I've been a millionaire since I was 30 years old. It was an unfortunate situation that brought it about, but it was just what it was. I own the oldest black business in the city of Atlanta. It's called Gordon's Body Shop. Used to be Yellow Cab Company. Used to be University Cab Company. That's right. And my family struggled and made this happen for our community. And that's the kind of leadership you're about to get again.
Thank you for that question, Mabel. I think the best representation of what somebody is going to do in the future is what they've done in the past. And I think that I've shown myself to be a strong community advocate and leader. I have been a coalition builder. I have worked with groups doing a variety of things that fight poverty, rather that be homelessness or affordable housing or opportunities for small businesses to grow. If I am elected to the seat, what I will do for outreach is I will utilize social media, email, phone calls, and things that would allow us to maintain constant contact. I'd like to institute community roundtables, and most of all, I would like our public schools to serve as the community anchors that we really need them to be. And I think if our schools close at 3 o'clock, we have lost a valuable resource that the rest of the community could be taking advantage of. So if we have schools that can stay open after 3 o'clock that are available for adults that need GED training and other resources, I think we'll have a better community everywhere. The question of poverty is not an easy question. We're grappling with it, obviously, in the United States. But the issue about poverty and education is core level. And I mean it in this way. When you look at the statistics, it shows that if we remove poverty, the United States would go from being one of the bottom countries around education to actually competing and even being in the very top 1 or 2 countries, if you remove the question of poverty. We as a community have to deal and grapple with this whole question of poverty. It's not something that you can just simply do as a school board member, but we will, and as a leader on the school board, I will be willing to do my part around that. I think that we have to open up this kind of question around how do we begin other systems around bartering. What do you have? What do I have that we can share? We have enough resources, I believe, in our community that no child literally should be left behind. No child should be without a mentor. No child should be below reading level or grade level if we put it all together and work together. We have to create a new system of how we live and be in this country.
I will continue to do what I have been doing over the last 23 years. As a young man coming out of 8th grade, I met a general on the battlefield. And that general brought me in up under her wing, and even the battle cry of peace and love and power to the people still rings in my ear now. Right. So to Abel Mabel Thomas, I say thank you for that, for showing me that we must be out with the people to get the job done. That is where I will remain. Anything that you hear about me, you will hear that I have always walked the streets of Vine City, looking for a solution amongst the people, because we are the ones that can pull ourselves out of this predicament. We have all the outside help. It is up to us to tell them what we need to pull ourselves out of this situation. So that is what I will continue to do, to be amongst you. Just as I'm asking for your vote, I will need your input to survive and help move this system forward as well. You see me now, you will continue to see me. Thank you.
Okay, good. All right, so the last question that I will ask is, as a board member, how do you plan to work to change the APS structure and climate that contribute to the recent achievement scandal? Please outline your steps. We will start with Angela, and go with Angela, Dewana, Gina, and Beck Davis.
We all know that the problem that we have faced around this does come from really the structure that we've been given. If you don't know the history, we sit under a charter that was legislatively done and implemented. That legislation was carried by our current mayor. If we don't change how that is, there are two problems with it. First of all, the fiduciary responsibility, although it rests with the board, we don't control that office. The chief financial officer reports directly to the superintendent. Secondly, we don't control as a board the legal aspect. So whenever someone is coming, and when you hear this whole question around the role that businesses have played in swaying some of this, is a result of the fact that people are vying for contracts.
Right.
And that then leaves the fact that the issue of educating our children as a problem. We have to change the charter in order to get at the heart of what we're talking about. What's the question? What are we going to do to work with
As a board member, how do you plan to work to change the APS structure and climate that contribute to the recent cheating scandal, and please outline steps?
Okay, first thing I'm going to do is engage with the Fulton County delegate and the other board members to start a conversation around how we change the charter. What is the right restoration of balance to power for the superintendent and board members, and pave ourselves a path forward from there. I will, work with the other board members. I am a researcher. I will, in a few short months, be finished my PhD in community economic development, and so I am a researcher. My specialty is evaluation research. I will use those skills to share information, data-driven information with my other board members, hopefully to educate them and to help them to make better decisions. Certainly, an informed board could have stopped the cheating at least 5 years ago when it was blatantly evident to even the common layperson in this community that the graduation rate was overly inflated and that our children weren't learning.
We spent $2 million last year on safe rooms. These are rooms that were built in our schools to hold and house the tests. Then they sent 2 representatives from the state of Georgia, designated by the governor, to determine that our children had a percentage of erasures of 48% was normal, and anything above that was considered cheating. We replaced 22 principals in our district. I will get with these new principals. We will have conversations about what the needs of our children are. We will make it mandated that there are enough people signing off on the test and the results of the test. And then we will convene a panel between our representatives and state organizers that why is it that we have an Iowa basic skills test and we don't have a Georgia basic skills test? Our children don't get to go to Iowa, but they do live in Georgia. And we have enough educators and enough educated individuals to present our children with a test that show their levels of performance.
You asked about the steps. The first step I would do is get elected. Once that is done, I will meet with the board to realize and talk to the board to ensure that we're ready to move forward on one accord. And that accord is, we have to be honest, we lost the ability to govern. We lost the ability to govern because we gave that power away. But once we meet with the board, we must begin to meet with the community to instill trust and integrity back into the system so the community can begin to believe in us once more. We must begin to build champions amongst the people. And then once we have done all of that, we must go to some of those same elected officials that we went to give our power away and demand it back. But not only that we're going to be demanding, we're going to have the community behind us, supporting us and demanding that power back so we can begin to create the correct educational policies to move this system forward.
We don't just pause, but we don't, so I can get the cards from you or to people to come to stand up and ask questions. But let's give this board. If you would like to ask a question, this is the proper time to do it, so I'll recognize questions from the audience. But also, if you have a question written down, please, if you don't want to speak it out, I'll speak it out for you. So which way do we go? Okay, here. You remember the order I'm calling on you, please. here